Hey there, Wash family. Another quick video here while I'm going through my rebuild. This is on whip hoses. So what I have going on, from my pressure washer, I always do a minimum of 4 feet, if not more, to where I have my downstream injector, which is currently here because I'm rebuilding it. And the reason for that, when you are off the trigger, if you are in downstream mode and you're bypassing, water does some funny things. Water will actually move back and forth in the line. You'd think it's under pressure, it just stays, but that little bit of movement, anything that was in there, if you were to take a water bottle and fill it all the way up with water and then put one tiny drop of food coloring in it and screw the bottle back up so that it's like full, and if you shake it, that food coloring will disperse. So realistically, we're doing the same thing. If we've got bleach in this line going to our reel, to where we're washing a house or something, that bleach is moving back and forth. And the last thing you want is if we didn't have a whip line here, if the pressure washer was right here, that could move back and forth if you're off the trigger long enough. If you're off for, say, 10 minutes, it's moving back and forth, and boom, it's going into the pump. That's not good. So it's always good to have a couple of feet between your pump and your downstream injector, because that means it takes more time for that to go through, which is why we also always flush our equipment with clean water when we're done. But what I wanted to say is I will use a whip line from my pressure washer to whatever junction I have, be it a 90 or the unloader in this case, before it goes to the my downstream bypass. I will reuse that line up to 2 years. This one was on there last year, and we can kind of, if it'll focus here, we can kind of look in there, and it's a little rusty. Not terrible. You could see the outline of the actual steel line within the fitting here, and it's clear. It's got a crisp line around it. That's what I would consider still good. The line that I pulled off my bypass loop, on the other hand, if we look in there, there is a ton. This would focus. Let's try this side. Let me come over here. There you go. You cannot clearly define where that inner hose line is. It's all rusted up, and what's actually happening is that rust is actually like kind of bubbling in there, and it's actually making the hole smaller. So on top of decreasing our flow, one, if any of these pieces of rust comes out and goes through, it could jam the nozzle on our gun. It could jam up in a swivel we have somewhere. Not to mention the fact that this hose is now more prone to a blowout somewhere in here. Now, thankfully, this always stays in one shape. It's not flexed or anything, so it doesn't have the stresses on it from the hose we're dragging around. But still, if this blows, all right, now you're out 10, 15 minutes on a job, providing you have an extra hose with you. So, good comparison. It's actually this side. If we compare one to the other here, this is the same hose. This is a 2-foot preformed whip line. That's the old one and the new one. So every year, when I tear this trailer down every February, this is essentially the reason I do it, whether I'm getting new equipment or not, is to get rid of my used lines. So everything after my unloader is new. If I was still running through my hose reel, I would replace that line as well. I've got two new pressure hoses, just so that I know. I usually get 6 to 8 months out of a hose, and then it's going to blow, so I got 2 ready to go for this year. So all the plumbing over here is new. Not to mention, I was finally able to track down some stainless steel tees. So I'm incorporating as much stainless as I can, because what happens to stuff that isn't stainless? These tees were new a year ago. And same thing, we look in there and they're starting to get crusty and nasty, which these aren't going to blow. But one, it's shrinking down, so we're restricting our flow. And two, if any of those little rust nodules bust off and go through, it's going to clog stuff up. It's going to clog stuff. you know, it might be prone to leaking easier. And I can't stand leaks. When this trailer pulls up, there will be no water dripping off it on client's property. And that's just, to me, there's no rust visible, and everything's neat and tidy, and there's no dripping water. So point of the video, replace your lines frequently, unless you don't mind doing in-field repairs. I just wanted to point out the difference to you there. Like I said, that hose was the one in my bypass loop here, and it was pretty gnarly. So I'm replacing that. If all's, just check on the stuff. Anything where you're around, your hands are around, your face is around, just remember, if that does decide to pop, it's not pretty. We've all seen what happens when we get nicked with high pressure. It's not fun. So just another little preventative thing that I do that you can do as well. So that's all for this run. Whip hoses. Just kidding. One thing I forgot to mention, this is the quick connect that I have for my downstream injector, which I do keep on a quick connect so that if it fails in the field, I can literally just shut the machine off, pop it off. I've got a spare one with quick connects ready to go to pop back in. But anytime you replace a hose in the field, once a year, whatever, clean your threads. I just unthreaded that other end from this. Look at all that nasty crap in there. Now, if you were to just throw some thread tape on there and thread this back up, this is going to go through the reel. This is going to go through and get stuck in your nozzle. I have a set of nozzle cleaners in my toolbox in case I ever got a piece of junk jammed in one of my nozzles, either in the surface cleaner or in just my J-rod tip, M5, whatever. 5 years I have had that in my toolkit. I have never needed to use it. I have never had a jammed nozzle. Part of that is because, well, I'm very particular. So I keep in there in my toolbox, and whenever I do any of this, a set of picks. I will go through here and pick out any old thread tape, any chunks of rust that are sitting in there. And I also take a wire brush and I clean the threads really well to make sure that I'm getting all of that cleaned out. At the same time, I change all of my O-rings. I've never blown an O-ring out. The only O-rings I've had damaged in the field are in my quick connect at the end of my gun, the 1/4 inch ones. All these get replaced once a year. They're Viton O-rings, and they hold up just fine because I don't beat the crap out of them. So for real now, that's it. Take care.